Hi, Osama is here, and in this video, I will explain everything you need to know about the Certified Course Professional, the CCP exam. So let's get started. Before we get started, I want to give a little bit about myself before we move on. I am a practitioner in project control since 2010, skilled in planning, Power BI, delay analysis, and claims, bachelor degree in civil engineering. I studied my MBA in the UK. I did all my research around construction. I worked in super large construction projects. I am based in the UAE and I offer project control services for companies, delay analysis and claims, and project control training. I am PMP, PSP, CCP, and PMI-SP certified. So first, I wanna talk a little bit about the benefits of having a CCP certification. You can present the CCP initials after your name after you earn the certification, achieve professional status as an expert through the credential, certify your great knowledge. So for example, if you show up in an interview and the hiring manager will unlikely ask you questions or basic questions about earned value because you are CCP certified, so you have certified your knowledge. The same concept will apply for the PSP certification. The hiring manager will unlikely test you about what a total float is, right? Add the most widely recognized certificate in the project control field to your portfolio and learn the best practices of project control. Access a wealth of high quality knowledge from the AACI recommended practices. And finally, get shortlisted for interviews and have better career opportunities. And I'm gonna touch a little bit on that later on. I will walk you through the whole certification journey. I will talk about eligibility, your application submission, your exam clearance, how you can schedule the exam, your preparation journey, what to expect on the exam day, receiving your results, and finally how to maintain CEUs to remain certified. Let's talk about the first aspect, which is eligibility. The exam provider is the AACI, Association for the Advancement of Cost Engineering International. To qualify for the CCP exam, you must have at least 8 years industry-related experience if you don't have a college degree. Or if you have a college degree, then you should have at least 4 years of industry-related experience. And I think the majority of us belong to the second category. You are maybe an engineer who has 4 years industry-related experience. But if you don't have a college degree, you must have at least 8 years of experience. Your application submission. First, you want to create an account with the AACEI. Create a new application submission under CCP certification. Fill the application details, basic information related to personal information, experience, education, etc. You need to upload the work experience letters, right? So you must have that in hand. Each experience letter should include the employment period, employer name, and duties on a letterhead. But why I highlighted duties? Because you are sitting for the CCP certification. You must show that you were involved in some aspects related to cost management. You don't have to be a cost controller, by the way, to qualify for the CCP certification. You could be a planning engineer, you could be a project manager, but your daily activities should involve cost management aspects, even on a basic level. Like you don't have to be the best cost controller, but you need to show some experience related to cost management and cost control, cost planning, or at least shadow the cost management activities if you are not deeply involved in that. Upload education certificates. The certificate should include education level, is it a bachelor or master, graduation date, degree type, and university. So you need to upload these documents at the time of the application submission. The certification fees will be different based on whether or not you are an AACI member. If you are a member, you will need to pay for the membership fees, which is $225, exam fees $500, so total $725. If you don't have a membership, you can pay for the exam fees right away, $625. If you are a member, you get a discounted fees, so you're gonna maybe pay $100 more if you are a member, and I recommend you to do that, because when you become a member, you can access all recommended practices and other guides, which are very, very valuable. They are all related to cost management, planning, delay analysis, etc. And they also have a collection of previous recorded webinars. If you fail the exam and you want to reset the exam, you will pay a discounted fees, so it's gonna cost you $250. And this fees will be the same whether or not you are a member. Let's talk about exam clearance. So after you submit your application, it can take up to 45 days based on the complexity of your application requirements. So the AACI will review your application. They can reach out to you and ask you for further details. I received my clearance after 29 days from the application submission. In the PSP exam, I received my clearance after 3 days. So it really depends, but you can allow up to 45 days to receive your clearance. You can schedule your exam within 6 months after you receive your clearance. So the 6 months is the clearance period. You can take the exam up to 3 times within the 6-month clearance period. The first time, which you submitted your application for, where you pay for the full exam fees, and also you can take the exam up to 2 more times at a discounted price during the clearance period. Let me show you how the clearance email looks like. They will send you an email. They mention that you are now cleared to sit for your CCP, and they will give you a voucher code so you can redeem to schedule your exam. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about that in the next step. And they will clearly show you the clearance period. So that's the start date and my finish date. So I have 6 months to take the exam up to 3 times. Let's talk about how you can schedule the exam. So in the same clearance email, you will receive an attachment that will include the scheduling instructions. It's very easy to understand and very straightforward. You will schedule the exam with Criterion or any of its partners. It's the testing provider, the one that is responsible for the technology, etc. And you will receive a confirmation email once you complete your booking. And also you will receive a reminder email before the exam. So let me show you the instructions document that I received in my exam. Okay. So these are the scheduling instructions. You're gonna be given a voucher code so you can redeem, because it costs money, right, to take the exam with Criterion. But you have paid for everything with the ASEI. So they will give you a voucher code that you can redeem to schedule your exam. But you will not pay anything else aside from the fees which we talked about before. And you will have steps. You can go to that link to create an account with Criterion and also follow the steps. It's very straightforward, and schedule the exam. And And let's talk about the most important part, which is the exam preparation and the study materials. The CCP exam is 5 hours CBT computer-based test. It includes 120 simple multiple choice, compound and scenario questions. You will have one memo writing assignment with a given scenario and instructions for writing a response in an on-screen text box. In the past, we had a technical paper, like all candidates should write a technical paper that is 2,500 words long. However, this requirement has been cancelled by the ASEI and they replaced the technical paper requirement with a memo assignment, the same way you see in the PSP exam. It's a closed book. However, because there are many complicated formulas in the CCP exam, you will be provided with a formulas sheet, which is amazing. You don't have to remember all formulas, and you will see it on the right hand side. It will be visible all the time. You can choose to refer to it whenever you need. You can choose to show it or hide it as much as you need, but it's always there all the time in your exam. N-style battery operated calculator permitted. It will not be provided by the testing center, so keep that in mind. Pencils and blank papers will be provided by the testing center, so you can perform any mathematical operations if you want, or take notes. An overall average score of 70% or higher is needed to pass the exam. The final exam result is arrived by averaging the score of all 4 domains. We have 4 main domains in the CCP exam. Basic skills and knowledge, and you should expect 38 questions in that area. Economic analysis, 28 questions. Project management, 27 questions. And the cost estimating and control, 27 questions. So overall, 120. The final result will be the average of all 4 domains, which means maybe you do very well in some domains and you fail a domain. You can still pass the exam because the final result will be the average. In the memo, it's pass or fail. So there is no grade here, like there is no 70% or something like that. It's a pass or fail. The recommended study materials. You need to refer to the CCP Certification Study Guide, the recommended practices 11R-88 and 10S-90, the skills and the knowledge of cost engineering 6th edition, total cost management framework. They are all documents that can be downloaded from the ASEI's portal. So I'm gonna recommend another source, but it is not listed by the ASEI. You should refer to planning resources. Surprisingly, the CCP exam had many planning questions about total float, about criticality, really many questions. So keep that in mind. There are 3 main challenges in your preparation. The first challenge is the weight of all study materials is not equal. So I'm gonna give you an example by referring to the PMP exam because many of us are familiar with it. In the PMP, we have 10 knowledge areas, right? Integration management, scope management, time management, etc. In my experience with the PMP exam, the weight of knowledge areas is equal in the exam. So you can receive decent amount of questions about quality management, cost management, time management. All areas are covered adequately. But it is not the case with the CCP exam. The weight of all study materials is not equal, and that's the tricky part. If the PM book is your main reference for the PMP exam, then the required skills and the knowledge of cost engineering will be your main reference for the CCP exam. Let me show you the document on a high level. So that's the document. It's 27 pages. And from page 7, you can see the main structure of the CCP curriculum. So we have 5 main areas, and under each area you have subsections. And that's at the high level. And the rest of the document will demonstrate subtopics of each section. So you can have really subtopics, a brief description of what each area is. The challenge is the weight of all areas is not equal. Some areas will be briefly mentioned in the exam, and you will be heavily tested on other areas compared to other areas. Okay, so keep that in mind. Like, there are main topics. So you have almost like 19-20 pages of subtopics, and you don't really need to learn everything here. What you can do instead, you can refer to that document which I prepared. So it includes the main topics. Okay, so the cost section, you have these topics. Economic analysis, only master these topics. And if you learn these topics, you have a very high chance of passing the exam, and most importantly, you will not waste any time and effort. And this will bring us to the second challenge. The recommended study materials require a significant time and effort. You can refer to all recommended practices and the study materials if you want to educate yourself about cost, but maybe you can do that at your own pace. But for the sake of the exam preparation, it's better to focus on the most important topics. You don't really need to learn everything as recommended in the study materials. You should only focus on selected topics only, which I showed you. The third challenge is no practice questions. The recommended study materials explain the theories, but practice questions are very, very important. The last thing you want to do is to practice the questions in the exam itself. There are some example questions in the recommended study materials, but they are not enough at all. The memo question. What are the objectives? You will be tested in the below areas. Candidates' ability to communicate effectively and efficiently with a project manager or other executive. Candidates' ability to perform analysis and make a recommendation with incomplete or conflicting information. Candidates' ability to follow instructions and formatting. So they want to really test your communication skills. How you can communicate ideas, analysis, and conclusions to someone who is not a planning engineer or a cost professional. If you are a cost professional, you know all best practices about earned value, SPI, CPI, etc. But a project manager might not know that. So how you can communicate the problem and the solutions in an easy to understand way to someone who is not a cost professional. When you receive your results, you will receive the memo feedback. It will look like that. It will tell you like, overall, this was a good professional memo, and maybe give you some recommendations. But it's either pass or fail. Let's look at the memo format. So you will be given a scenario, a situation, maybe a problem, and you want to provide solutions. They will give you some possible solutions, and you have to do the math, perform the analysis, so you can come up with a conclusion based on your expertise. Not only that, but it's about the way you communicate the ideas and the solutions. You start the memo with maybe a project manager or someone whose name is mentioned in the question. You can mention any name, date, maybe your exam date, it doesn't make a difference, and a subject. Maybe liquidated damages analysis because of material delay, something like that, and the project name. Here is one important point. Don't start with a salutation like dear. The salutation is a part of a letter or an email, but it is not a part of a memo. There is a specific structure for a memo. and make sure that you follow the format and the structure, because the ASEI call this like 3 points. Just by following the right format, you will earn 3 points. So don't lose them. The memo should have overall about 5 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, you introduce the problem. So we want to explain the issue and its importance to the project. And this is something that is given in the question, but you have to paraphrase it and summarize it. Okay, don't copy and paste, because otherwise someone has written the words for you. You will not get points, and maybe you will get punished for that. Explain what is the issue that needs a decision. Provide any additional information to educate the project manager about your specialized planning or cost control area. Okay, and I would call that a section where you get 3 points as well, because you did not do anything new here. You are just summarizing information. Paragraph 2, discuss potential solutions. The exercise will provide possible solutions. So the possible solutions are given in the question. If the solutions are not complete, you can come up with a new one, but it is not often the case. I don't think you will have that situation. Under any circumstances, you should address the solutions provided in the exercise. So I'm going to give you one example. Let's say you have 2 possible solutions about the analysis of liquidated damages. And maybe you decide that the best possible solution is to have a meeting and discuss further. Okay, mention that, but you have to address all solutions provided in the exercise. So you have to do the analysis. There is no work around. And I would say also it's an easy section. You do not do anything new, maybe just summarizing the information. And paragraph 3 is the most important. You want to analyze the solutions and do the calculations. So maybe you have 2 possible solutions. You want to calculate the cost and the benefits to make a decision and make a recommendation. In the 4th paragraph, present a recommendation based on your analysis performed in paragraph 3. Describe why you choose to disregard some of the data provided. So sometimes they will give you some information that will not be used in the question. So you want to explain why you disregard this data, if possible, in just one sentence. Explain why you choose some solutions over others. So for example, maybe it's better for you, or it's cheaper for you to accept liquidated damages for 10 days delay than deliver the materials using air freight. Okay, it's cheaper to accept liquidated damages, but you choose to accept the other solution because you want to say something like liquidated damages will hurt my market reputation and it will hurt my future business relationships with the client. So that's how you actually draw conclusions and they make recommendations. And paragraph 5 is also easy. It's 3 points. Close the memo, summarize the memo, end with the statement. Always remember that for the exam. I will be glad to provide any additional information as necessary. It's a professional courtesy. Again, don't end with sincerely, regards. Just leave it like that. So the last sentence you will write in the memo is that sentence, okay? And leave it there. Don't write anything else beyond that. What to expect on the exam day? It's a 5 hours long exam, so have a healthy breakfast that has a slow digesting carbs that will give you a steady supply of energy over long periods. I recommend arriving 45 minutes before the exam start to account for the delay associated with finding a parking, your transportation, finding the test center, checking in, etc. Because most likely it will be the first time to visit that location. Bring 2 IDs. One must be a valid government issued photo like passport or national ID. The second is a secondary. It can be a credit or debit card, employee ID, etc. Set an alarm before you leave home that says, don't forget your calculator. I almost forgot mine. Why? Because it's a habit for you on daily basis. You take your phone with you or your wallet, your keys. It has become a habit. But we don't often take a calculator when we leave home every day. Maybe set an alarm, it will help you. Because CCP is very calculations intensive question. You will do a lot of calculations. The last thing you want to do is to forget your calculator. It will really affect your exam. The testing center will provide you with paper and a pencil only, not a calculator. Receiving your results. You will receive an email that includes your performance evaluation across all 4 domains, memo assignment feedback, your certificate as an attachment, and you must look at the results calendar to see when you should expect your exam results. I'm gonna show you a sample. The ASCE will grade exams in cycles, and the results will not be immediate because there is a memo part of the exam. It has to be graded. You should expect your results based on when you took the exam. So for example, if you took the exam somewhere between December 16 and January 15, you will belong to the 15th of January grading cycle, and you should expect your results by February 5. If you took the exam somewhere here, you will belong to that cycle, June 15, and you should expect your results by July 5. So there is a delay between the exam day and the results day to account for the time that is needed to grade the memo. So here is what I recommend. You can plan your exam around the end of the cycle. So if you wanna take the exam in that cycle, maybe schedule your exam on maybe January 13 or January 12. Why? Because the ASCI will collect all exams taken in that period and publish the results at the same time. So maybe give yourself a little bit preparation and it will not affect your results date anyway, right? If it makes sense. So why would you take the exam on December 16 while you can take it on January 12 and get the results on the same day? Because both candidates who took the exam on December 16 and January 12 will both receive the results on February 5. And finally, after you have become CCP certified, you need to maintain CEUs. You need to accumulate 12 CEUs, continuing education units. It's similar to PDUs, professional development units, in the PMI's system, over 3-year certification period to maintain your certificate. The categories for recertification CEUs are, you have 4 different categories: performed related to your employment, professional development like courses, industry contribution, maybe delivering a webinar, writing an article, and category D, volunteer service. If you have already acquired at least 12 CEUs and you are within 6 months of your expiration date, you can go ahead and complete and submit your application right away. These are the different categories and the subcategories. I'm not gonna cover that in detail, but you can refer to it. I'm just explaining what to expect to maintain your CEUs. All right, so I hope you found this video informative. If you want help with the CCP exam preparation, you can check out my comprehensive CCP exam preparation course, where you get detailed tutorials of the most important topics, plus 3 mock-up exams with the model answer. For more details, visit www.smartpmtraining.com, and I wish you all the best in your CCP exam journey.